Sammy's special gift. Sammy had just received a birthday gift, but deep down, his heart felt a little disappointed. He tore the wrapping paper, and his blue eyes showed a sadness he couldn't quite hide. Sammy's disappointment quickly turned into a small, frustrated pout. A heavy silence filled the room, broken only by Sammy's quiet thoughts about the video game he truly wanted. His uncle spoke in a kind voice, explaining why he chose this particular gift. Sammy still didn't understand why he didn't get the one thing he truly wanted. Looking up, Sammy finally saw his uncle's misty, sad eyes. Suddenly, it clicked for Sammy. He realized his uncle had only wanted to make him happy. He understood that the gift itself wasn't what mattered, but the loving gesture behind it. Sammy turned to his uncle, a sincere and thankful smile now on his face. He told his uncle he was truly sorry and thanked him with all his heart. Together, Sammy and his uncle settled down to build the airplane, sharing a moment of pure joy. Sammy's big promise. One sunny morning, Sammy was supposed to feed his brother's goldfish. But his friends called, and Sammy quickly ran off to play. Later, Sammy came home to find Adrian looking very sad. Adrian stood by the aquarium, worried about his fish. Sammy knew he had forgotten to feed the fish, but he pretended he just couldn't remember. Adrian explained that taking care of an animal was a big responsibility, and he was counting on Sammy. Sammy felt a lump in his throat. He realized he had let his brother down. With a deep breath, Sammy finally admitted his mistake and said he was very sorry. Sammy promised to take responsibility and always remember his duties. The very next day, Sammy set a special alarm on his watch to help him remember. He learned that taking responsibility means keeping your promises, especially to those you care about. Sammy's king heart. Today, Sammy feels that something is wrong. His best friend, Leo, is very quiet and looks sad at school. Sammy wants to make Leo smile again, so he asks him to play soccer, just like they always do. But Leo gently shakes his head, refusing to play. Sammy doesn't understand why, and he feels frustrated and a little hurt. Feeling frustrated, Sammy walks away from Leo and decides to play soccer with other children instead. Sammy is having fun with his new friends, but he can't help glancing back at Leo, who is still alone on the bench. That evening, Sammy tells his dad all about his confusing day, and his dad listens carefully. Sammy's dad gently explains that Leo's grandfather has gone away for a long time, which is why Leo is sad. Sammy's eyes widen with understanding. He finally realizes that Leo wasn't angry, but simply very sad. The next day, Sammy goes to school determined to help Leo. He sits down quietly next to him on the bench. Sammy has learned that being a good friend means knowing how to be there, even without always needing to talk. Sammy's first ride. Sammy desperately wanted to ride his bike without training wheels, but he kept falling over and over again. He was tired of failing and felt so discouraged, he didn't want to try anymore. His father knelt beside him and gently pointed to faint tire marks on the path. His father explained that Sammy had already ridden for several meters on his own. Even after this discovery, Sammy still wanted to give up and just go back to playing. His father, undeterred, suggested one last try, focusing only on his balance. Sammy, touched by his father's perseverance, agreed to give it one last try. He pedaled, focusing hard on the path ahead, and realized he hadn't fallen. Sammy's face lit up with a huge smile. He understood, he had succeeded. Sammy had learned that perseverance was the key to achieving his goals. Sammy's grandfather's cassettes. Sammy sighed because his grandfather asked for help putting away old cassettes, but Sammy just wanted to play with his friends. With a smile, Grandfather explained that these cassettes held his most cherished memories. Annoyed, Sami began putting away the cassettes in a hurry, eager to finish and join his friends. Grandfather began to tell a story related to a cassette, but Sami only half listened, focused on his task. Sami complained that the task was boring and taking too long. The grandfather confided in an emotional voice that these cassettes were the only memories he had left of his youth. Seeing the tears in his grandfather's eyes, Sami's heart clenched, and he understood he had been disrespectful. Sami moved closer to his grandfather, apologized sincerely, and decided to sit with him to listen to his stories. Sami took a cassette, gave it to his grandfather, and listened attentively with a warm smile. Sami understood that respecting his grandfather's memories was a true sign of love and respect for him. Sami's and the new friend. A new boy named Tom arrived in Sami's class. He looked different from the other children, and everyone stared. Sami couldn't help but giggle at Tom's unique clothes and hair. He didn't understand why Tom looked so different. At recess, Tom felt sad and sat all alone on a bench. The other children, including Sami, played happily without him. The teacher noticed Tom all by himself. He watched the other children, feeling concerned. Back in the bright classroom, the teacher explained that everyone has the right to be different and not be judged for it. Even after the teacher's words, Sami still thought Tom was strange. He didn't feel like the lesson was for him. The teacher then spoke directly to Sami. He said that what truly matters is a kind heart, not how someone looks. Sami finally understood his mistake. His heart filled with regret for the pain he had caused Tom. With courage, Sami walked over to Tom, held out his hand, and apologized for everything. Tom accepted Sami's apology, and they began to play together. Sami had learned how important it is to be tolerant and kind,